Hi, this is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus, the big top of sports talk radio. Did you hear this?
And by the way, every time that I hear Dwayne Wade, those words now are synonymous with dusty and crusty. I mean, this guy just needs to be put on the shelf and just dust it off.
Clown around with us and stream the show online at thesportcircus.com. Join me and special guest, three-time Major League Baseball All-Star and four-time Gold Glove winning second baseman Brett Boone this Saturday morning from 8 to 9 here on NBC Sports 920 The Game.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Circus. This is the Super Bowl edition of the Sports Circus, and you can see we're at a wonderful location. Obviously, it is something that, basically everybody that's in the sporting world wants to be there. Now, today's show is brought to you by Rising Above Search Engine Optimization. They provide clients with the best SEO, website design, social media management, and video SEO on the internet. You can reach them at 855-747-4641 or visit them at risingaboveseo.com. So, today, I've got a special guest in with me.
Yes, you do.
Yes, we do. And our special guest is a local Las Vegas baseball aficionado, player, professional. He's a hell of a, I think he's a second baseman.
Yes.
He says he's a second baseman. Anyway, good kid. Steven, say hello to everybody. Look right there in the middle one.
How's it going, everyone?
You don't have to come over here. Just look right over there. All right, that's where the camera's at. So, hopefully there won't be too much noise from our back here, but we'll try to make sure we keep our sound amplified so you at home can hear and you can be jealous of our wonderful location. Hopefully we'll be going inside at about 5:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. Be nice to be at the big game, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the big game. This is a very interesting matchup because what we have are two teams that are sort of similar, but sort of not. You have great offenses on both sides, and you have one defense that's fantastic and another one that's not very fantastic. Let's face it. So I guess the biggest questions that surround the game itself, never mind the spread, the point spread in Las Vegas is at 3, which I can't even understand how it's only at 3. The line should be double digits. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the reason it doesn't make any sense is the defensive differential between Atlanta's lackluster 27th ranked defense versus New England's number 1 ranked defense. And oh, by the way, New England being number 2 in offense, while Atlanta's number 1 in offense. So, but there's some dynamics here that need to be discussed. And to be honest with you, I think both of these teams, of course, they all want to get out to a fast start. But I happen to believe that one team needs a fast start a hell of a lot more than the other in this wonderful stadium. And I'll tell you why. If Atlanta doesn't get out to a fast start, they got a real problem. But the one thing that they've got going for them is over the last 8 games, the first possession they've had in the game, they have scored a touchdown on the first touch. That's incredible.
Okay.
Over an 8-game stretch. That's incredible. See, he's a baseball guy, so I'm talking Greek to him right now. It's kind of fun.
I like football, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Haven't been watching it lately. But.
That's okay. So what we think about is why Atlanta has to get the ball right away, why they have to score. And see, here's the crazy dynamic to it. Now, Atlanta has scored 8 times on their first possession for the last 8 games, I should say. Now, the cool thing about that, we think about the yin and the yang. New England has not allowed a first quarter touchdown pass in 13 games. And during that 13-game stretch,
wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
And what they haven't done, or what they also have done to their opponents, is they've picked them off 4 times.
In the first quarter.
In the first quarter, exactly.
Okay.
So what does this tell me? It tells me that Atlanta, if they get the ball right away, they're going to try to push the ball upfield right away. They're going to try to get out to an early lead because that's what they've done. And ironically, the last game that they lost, I believe it was to Philadelphia. Philadelphia only allowed them to score 15 points. The fact is, you've got a team that has to get out in front. Because remember, Atlanta didn't get out in front of Philadelphia. Philadelphia ends up beating them. Now, it's been a long time since Atlanta lost a game, but that's how they lose games, right?
Okay, yeah.
And this is a team, and here's the funny thing. Atlanta takes care of the ball better than any other team. They don't fumble it. They don't cough it up. They don't throw a lot of INTs. But you've got a New England defense that thrives on turnovers. They thrive on the big play against the opponent, on the defensive side of the ball, that is. Offensively, they're a whole different animal. This is a well-oiled machine, and we'll get to that in a minute. So thinking about what Atlanta will do on the field, you could bet that there's going to be a lot of run fakes. They're going to put Julio Jones in run post routes. They're going to try to get a man coverage downfield and look for a lot of those types of plays. But what's going to open the passing game up for Atlanta is going to be the crack tosses on the running game. You're going to see stacked wideouts on one side of the ball. So you're going to see basically 4 wide receivers on one side of the line of scrimmage. And all that's going to do is it's going to open up the running game because the defensive backs are going to be forced, and the secondary, they're going to be forced to move over to one side of the field, and they're going to basically vacate the other side and leave man-to-man coverage. Just like in baseball, we have that when runners are being held on base, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And imagine nobody being held on base, they're going to run.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the same thing's going to happen here. So basically, you're going to have a running game that's going to be I really believe that the fullback's going to play a really big part of this. His name is Patrick DeMarco. Look for DeMarco besides your running backs, of course, with what's his name, Tevin Coleman. Anyway, you're gonna see and Devontae. You're gonna see a great running effort by Atlanta, and Atlanta's going to mix it up. They're going to try to throw different things that New England has not seen.
As they should.
As you're supposed to. I mean, this is the biggest game in the world. There's nothing bigger than the Super Bowl, right?
Yes, right.
Nothing bigger at all. So, as I see it,
they need to win. I mean,
they have to listen. They
New
have
England,
to get out to a fast start.
They have too many wins. I hope the Falcons win.
Too many wins. Well, you and a lot of people at home.
Almost
this stadium right here is going to be packed with 50, 60,000 people, and what's going to end up happening, most of them are going to be rooting for Atlanta because they made the short drive over here. It's not that far between Atlanta and Houston, right? So as I see the game unravel, I see the crowd favorite, of course, being Atlanta, but Atlanta has to execute, and what they have to do is confuse a very good New England defense. And I got to tell you, that's not the easiest thing in the world. So when you think about what they have to do on the field, never mind what's going on in the seats. I mean, let's face it, this place is going to be packed, and it's going to be noisy. But ultimately, they have to execute on the field. So look for a lot of misdirection by Atlanta. And, I mean, let's face it, New England's game plan is going to be very, very simple. Mix it up, get to your different receivers. You're going to see a nice, healthy balance of running game and the passing attack. I think Atlanta's going to have their hands full, even though they're going to have one-on-one matchups. I think favorable matchups with their wideouts between Justin Hardy and Austin Cooper. I think they're going to have some really nice favorable matchups. And they are going to be open because everyone's going to be looking at Julio Jones, even though he's had turf toe. They're going to be looking at him to say, well, all right, he's maybe not our first option because everybody's going to go to him. So let's look at Hardy, let's look at Sanu, let's look at Cooper, and then let's think about the fullback where nobody's going to pay attention to him. So it's going to be a very interesting game, from a lot of different perspectives. And, we have a lot more to talk about with this. As I see it, the Atlanta Falcons not only have their hands full, but they're matching up against a team been there. They've been there how many times? They won how many Super Bowls? Yeah. It's kind of old hat for Belichick and company. Why? Because they're good. Winners win. They find ways to win games. Just like in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, Seattle had them beat, and they couldn't execute on the goal line. Guess what happened? New England won. Yet another Super Bowl. It's kind of interesting because after they won that Super Bowl, Tom Brady changed his number to number 5.
Oh, wow.
Why?
He's just letting the people know.
He wants the 5th one.
Okay.
Right? Because Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, they both have 4 Super Bowls. Tom Brady has 4 Super Bowls. Well, guess what? With this one, he's going to be wearing the 5th one. Right. He'll stand alone, and he's already cemented his position in the NFL and in the Hall of Fame. There's no question. A 7th rounder.
That's cool to see, though, in our, for me to see that in my lifetime.
A 7th
see something
rounder.
that great.
It's incredible.
See something that great happen in my lifetime. I'm happy. I mean, I sort of want to see him do it, but then again, New England has all these wins.
The emotional favorite says, we kind of like to see Atlanta win. But the reality says, look, everything, and I don't care who is cutting it up, how you slice it and dice it, everything points to New England winning by double digits. And we'll get to that in just a second, because when you start to break down the numbers of how the game will play out on paper, just like in baseball, we have sabermetrics, right? Yeah. Well, if you take the same stats and the same numbers, there's no question that Atlanta is clearly 11 or 12 points less because of the defense than New England. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. We're going to go to a break here, and we're going to come back and finish up on the Super Bowl here on the Sports Circus, WCOBM.